Hi, how are you doing? Now in this video we're going to learn about primitive wrapper type. Okay, they are string, number and boolean. But before we do that, just a quick refresher. We know that in JavaScript we have two different types. One is a primitive type and another is a reference type. So for example, object is a reference type. So we can add properties, delete properties and so on, right? But to the primitive type we can add and delete properties. For example, let's say person dot age equals to 30. Okay, so console log let's log this object. Let's see here, and as you can see, I could add the properties like that. But on string I can't do that because this is a primitive type. My string say is, let's add is. Okay, so let's console log. Okay, let's see. Okay, hello world. You don't see the age property that is added. That's because this is a primitive type. However, by default, we get to use certain properties and there are certain properties that we can use with primitive types. That's because we know that in JavaScript everything inherits the behavior or the object's behavior, right? So these primitive types also behind the scene, they are created like an object. Okay, so for example, variable my string equals to hello world, right? So this is the string we created, but behind the scene what happens is variable my string equals to new string. So this is how it gets created behind the scene. Okay, so in fact we can even go create a string this way. Okay, we know we can create object like this. We don't usually create string like this, but we can. For example, console log. Okay, so if we see string hello world, so behind the scene this is how it works. So they get created behind the scene using these constructors, okay, just like an object. And that's the reason why we can use certain methods. The only difference is we cannot add. However, there are already pre-built methods in JavaScript that we can use. Some of the methods are super useful because we need the ability to manipulate the string, right? So there are methods available. For example, let's say my substring equals to, let's apply on this one my string, and then there is this method. We can use the string method substring. So this method we can use. If we were creating this on our own, that wouldn't work because we can't add properties because it's a primitive type. However, because they are basically object and behind the scenes JavaScript have created certain properties that we can use. Those properties we can use to manipulate this string. Okay, so for example, we can use substring method, and let's say 2. Okay, console.log my substring. Okay, and let's see the result. As you can see, the 2 numbers have been cut off and then the remaining string has been returned. So this is the main goal of this lesson is just know that even the primitive types, they are basically object behind the scene, and even though we cannot add properties, there are pre-built properties that we can use to manipulate the strings. Okay, so same with the boolean. When you say true, when you create true or false, behind the scene they are created like this new boolean, and even we can create like this. Now there's very little use of creating new boolean true or false like that, but just so that you know it is possible. And same with the number. You can use number constructor to create a new number type. Yeah. For example, let's say variable num equals to 10. So behind the scene it becomes new number 10. So behind the scene, this is how it gets created. Now let's use let's console log num to fixed, and let's say I want to see 2 digit. I want to add 2 digit to this number. So fresh, and as you can see, it added the 2 digits. Okay, so this is how we can, even though there are strings and numbers, the primitive types, we can use certain methods and properties available to manipulate them. Okay, so in the next video we're going to learn about string manipulation methods. All right, I will see you in the next video. Thank you.